There you go, friends. Doc South here. And well, I think we're now into November, one of my favorite months, because that's the month Thanksgiving is. Yeah. That's the month that contains, I think honestly, my favorite holiday, Thanksgiving. Yeah, where you meet with friends or family and gorf down turkey till you think you're going to explode. Oh, it's so great. So great. Mm. But I was just thinking, I was sitting here, I've got to maybe come up with some of the nicest Thanksgivings I ever had, but I was just thinking of one that was pretty bad. It was pretty much a crummy Thanksgiving, as I recall. Um, it was my first Thanksgiving down in Wilson, North Carolina. Yeah, Wilson, North Carolina. I'm guessing that had to be somewhere around 78, 79, something like 1979, something like that, in that neck of the woods. I had just separated from my first wife, Molly. Um, we were working on getting a divorce. So I believe that year she had the kids. It was my first year without them or her or basically anyone. My folks had taken me in for a while, but I moved down to North Carolina because I had a job offer. And it just seemed like a good idea. So I went down and got that. And I moved into Wilson like maybe a week, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. And I knew absolutely no one in that town. No one. I hadn't joined the rescue squad yet. In fact, I was living in a motel that featured, it was a pretty quiet motel except on Saturday nights. Evidently, it was the spot where many a couple met up, shall we say. I'll leave it at that. The rest is up to your imagination. I don't think we even had TV. If you wanted to watch TV, it was nothing but these really wild movies. Okay. Which was fine, but it's the same ones over and over and over. and basically, I don't believe I even had a phone. I mean, I was very broke and very alone in a town that would eventually be very, very pleasant to me and very nice to me. But that hadn't happened yet. And I remember I'm sitting I don't know, it was maybe Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and the person who owned the motel knocked on the door and said, "Hey, uh, Mr. South, yeah." They said, "You've got to call. Your parents want you to call. You can use the phone in our office." I don't think they had phones um, in the motel, if I recall right. And smartphones, I don't think no, they weren't invented yet. And so or it was a phone booth, one way or another. I called the folks, and it was my mom and father both pretty much in tears, saying they were sending down some money uh, for me to get a ticket, or did I have enough money to get a ticket and they'd reimburse me to take the train up and spend Thanksgiving at their house. And I said, "Well, yeah, I think I've got nothing going on. Yeah, gee, that'd be great." Because they knew darn well I had maybe a peanut butter and jelly sandwiches ready that was going to be my Thanksgiving feast. Um, and it was, well, as luck would have it, I had enough on the credit card. I got an Amtrak ride up. Folks met me at the train station up in Newark, and yeah, I had a good couple of days Thanksgiving it up with them. And it's and then for the ride home, my father slipped me 100. Yeah, yeah, and he says, "Well, how are you doing down there?" I said, "Well, I think things are going to work out. They seem like nice folks in the Carolinas. Job don't seem so bad. I'm thinking of joining the rescue squad." And like that. And I said, "There's a group called Parents Without Partners. It's like a support group for people who are divorced and have kids and all that stuff. I said, all in all, the Tar Heels seem to be pretty nice people. And he's my father always, when he had something really serious to tell me, he looked around just to make sure no one else was listening in. He says, listen, he says, here's another 50. You make sure you use that for dating. Okay. He says, yeah, which back then would have been a lot of money. Yeah, gosh. And he said, now I don't know. I guess that wouldn't get you too far on a date, but he says, you ask the girls out. He says, he says, when I lived, don't tell your mother, but when I first moved, when I was in the Marines, in fighter training, pilot training, I was going, my God, those girls are crazy. He says, I doubt they've gotten any, he says, they're probably still nuts. He says, just go out on dates. You'll have a ball. He says, God, he says, now here's some money and you spend it wisely. My son. And he throws me on the train and I go back down. But it was so nice when I think about it. When I was thinking of that, I was probably going to eat Campbell's soup or something for, chicken noodle soup or Lipton's noodle soup for Thanksgiving. It was sure neat to have the folks just stand up for me like that. God bless them. If there's one thing I'm thankful for, it was definitely them and my family, my brother, of course, and mom and dad. Gee, they were great. They were great. And eventually, things worked out. The following year, I was almost too busy to go up. I still did, but there was just so much going on. And the old man was right about the girls. The rescue squad was fantastic. Just a big band of brothers and going out on calls and stuff. And the job was going okay. And gee, all in all, things worked out rather nicely. I highly recommend if you're in a pickle, and got the mopes, North Carolina will generally cure you. Yeah, and go by train. Yeah, you can fly in if you want, but I suggest the train. And there you go. I just thought I'd say again, I'm going to think of some more Thanksgiving stories as the month develops. Because I got to think it is my favorite holiday. I like the idea giving thanks and eating like a pig. I seem to remember when I got home. No, mom couldn't have. No, mom wouldn't have done that. I think she slipped some money into my suitcase so that I'd have money to get some turkey dinners when I got back down south. Although mostly I went for the fried chicken, which is again something to highly recommend in the Tar Heel state. Any case, when I hear Tar Heel, I honestly, I don't think I ever saw any overabundance of tar down there. Now that I think about it, but in any case, enough said. I'll see you later. And again, if you got the mopes, yeah, the Tar Heel state, get down there as fast as you can. Rent yourself a bungalow and stand by for action. I'll see you later. God bless. Bless their souls. Bye now.